The Great Power Deception. The central question became, how was the 30-foot gear in the vault turning? The simple answer, as detailed in the early 1900s, would have been a massive coal-fired generator or an industrial water wheel. But there was no soot, no steam residue, and no water channels in the final chamber. The crazy part is the gear was turning at a perfect, unchanging rate, independent of any external power grid. It suggested a self-sustaining system, which frankly shouldn't exist. So here's the deal. The team focused on the electromagnetic field being generated. They found that the field was not a waste product, but the core function of the machine. The motion of the gear was creating the field, and the field itself was sustaining the motion. This discovery led them deep into the study of torsion fields and ancient energy theories. The material of the gear, that unique blend of elements, was acting as an incredible energy conductor and insulator. The slow rotation was not generating power for the city, as some initial wild theories suggested. Instead, the rotation was manipulating a natural, subtle energy flow from deep within the Earth itself. Further exploration back along the deeper composite tunnels led to another astonishing wow factor. Every 3,000 feet built into the wall of the tunnel was a hidden circular recess. Within each recess, a bowl-shaped crystal about 2 feet in diameter was set into the dark rock. These crystals weren't quartz or any known mineral. They glowed faintly with a soft blue-white light and hummed in perfect synchronicity. The team realized these were resonators, placed at precise geometric points in the network. Basically, the entire 50-mile tunnel network was acting as a giant conductor, and the crystals were nodes, all feeding subtle energy into the central vault. The cumulative energy being funneled through the network, while weak at any single point, was immense overall. It was harnessing a natural geothermal or seismic resonance in the bedrock. The feature in the vault wasn't a generator, it was a regulator, a monumental tuning fork that kept the entire network in a state of controlled resonance. This meant that the tunnels were not dug for passage, but to position the resonators at exact locations. The scientific team proposed that the machine wasn't designed to be used by people, it was built to do something to the ground beneath the city. What most people don't realize is that the density and type of granite bedrock beneath this city is unusually stable, one of the most stable in the world. The constant rhythmic energy manipulation by the Conway network could have a number of profound effects, from subtle manipulation of magnetic fields to dampening seismic activity. One radical theory even suggested the network was a massive stabilizing countermeasure against a long-forgotten geological threat. And get this, the man who supposedly funded it all, Conway, was not an engineer. He was a financier and a collector of ancient texts. The team eventually found his hidden journal, a leather-bound book with nearly 1,000 pages of dense handwritten notes. The journal didn't detail construction budgets or labor costs. Instead, it was filled with sketches of the vault machine, references to long-lost occult knowledge, and complex star charts. He wrote of the great stabilizer and the engine of cycles, and how the knowledge was passed down through a secret society dating back to the late 1600s. The journal revealed that the 1920s construction was Conway's frantic final push to complete the network after inheriting the secret from his grandfather. He used his rail company as the perfect cover, disguising the movement of thousands of tons of composite rock and the mysterious crystals as routine construction material. He mentions importing the strange dark metal and the luminous crystals from an undisclosed location in the mountains, a logistics puzzle that alone should have drawn huge attention. The journal also included a chilling entry, a warning that if the gear ever stopped turning, the equilibrium would break, leading to a cataclysmic event. He sealed the vault not to hide a treasure, but to keep the device functioning and protected forever. The power source was the planet itself, and Conway was just the caretaker of a ticking clock. This revelation meant the team was now responsible for keeping a mysterious, potentially Earth-altering machine in motion, a machine they barely understood. This wasn't a historical case anymore, it was an active mission. But there were still 5 more chambers mentioned in the journal even deeper that might hold the key. The final defense mechanism. The Conway Journal was the Rosetta Stone, but it was also a ticking clock. It mentioned not just the main vault, but 5 smaller, deeper chambers connected to the main mechanism. Everyone's obsessed with the idea of secret tunnels, but this was a chain of command, a sequence that needed to be followed. It's not that simple, though. The journal made it clear that these 5 chambers held the key to understanding the mechanism's purpose and how to safely maintain it. The first of the 5 chambers, accessed through a hidden shaft under the vault's 30-foot gear, plunged another 300 feet down. The pressure difference at this depth, nearly 800 feet below the surface, was intense. This descent revealed a section of the tunnel that was not cylindrical but perfectly rectangular, 30 feet wide and 12 feet high. The interior was lined with the same dark composite material, but here the geometric patterns were much more elaborate, almost three-dimensional. The chamber at the end of this rectangular shaft was small, only 15 feet square. The feature here was not a machine, but an elaborate crystal matrix embedded into the floor. The matrix was composed of 109 small, glowing crystals arranged in a spiral pattern, all pulsating with the same blue-white light as the large resonators in the main tunnels. The core message of this discovery was immediately clear. This chamber was the fine-tuning room. The large gear regulated the flow, but this small room controlled the frequency of the energy being harvested. The team surmised that the changing geometric patterns in the tunnels above were literally waveguides for the subtle energy. Further study into the journal detailed Conway's connection to a secretive society, the Ordo Geometria, a small group of philosophers, engineers, and financiers who believed that the true power of the Earth could be harnessed through sacred geometry and precision engineering. This was valuable fluff that tied the seemingly random tunnels to a deeper, more compelling motivation. The society members, known only by titles like the Keeper or the Surveyor, had spent generations maintaining the secret, using their wealth to finance small, cover-up projects. What most people don't realize is that dozens of other supposedly abandoned mining and utility projects across the country, all dating from the 1800s to the 1930s, share the same unusual construction techniques and use of the dark, unknown composite material. This suggests the Conway network is not unique, but part of a much larger global system of stabilizers. The 4 remaining chambers, according to the journal, served as a lock and key system. The second chamber held the knowledge of the frequency, the third, the knowledge of the rhythm, the fourth, the knowledge of the load, and the fifth, the knowledge of the shutdown sequence. And get this, the very existence of a shutdown sequence, labeled by Conway as the key of re-entry, implied that the machine was never meant to run forever. It was a cycle, a tool used for a specific purpose at specific times. The exploration of the third chamber led to another stunning revelation. The entrance was protected by a thermal lock, a 5-foot section of tunnel that heated to an unbelievable 500 degrees Fahrenheit, suggesting an intentional defense mechanism. Once past this, they found a room containing 5 stone tablets, each weighing almost 200 pounds. These tablets were not written in any known language, but covered in an elegant script of flowing lines and precise mathematical symbols. The symbols, when translated through a cipher found in Conway's journal, revealed a chilling pattern, a predictive calendar mapping out the planet's major seismic and magnetic events over a 300-year cycle. The tablet showed that the giant gear in the vault was moving in time with these cycles, suggesting the network wasn't just stabilizing the Earth, but actively countering or balancing specific dangerous fluctuations. The crazy part is that one of the dates on the tablet, a date marked with a highly emphasized danger symbol, was less than 6 months away. The team had stumbled not upon a passive secret, but a massive underground safety valve that was rapidly approaching a critical point in its cycle. This monumental pressure meant they couldn't simply walk away. They needed to find the remaining chambers, decode the shutdown sequence, and learn how to safely manage the machine. An active mission. The 5th and final chamber was not hidden behind a wall of stone, but behind a barrier of pure, focused electromagnetic energy, a silent field that repelled all attempts at direct contact. The air hummed with a low, deep resonance, a warning signal that the entire network was nearing its peak operational cycle. The team managed to bypass the field using an intricate copper mesh system, a detail they found sketched on the final frayed page of the Conway Journal. This was another example of valuable fluff that turned out to be life-saving information. Inside the chamber, the feature was the most stunning yet simple mechanism of all. It was a console, about 6 feet tall and 4 feet wide, built entirely of the same dark composite metal, covered in symbols that glowed faintly. At the center was a single empty recess, diamond-shaped, clearly meant for the floating diamond they had recovered from the fourth chamber. This was the shutdown sequence, but it was not a kill switch. So, here's the deal. When the diamond was placed into the recess, a massive holographic projection filled the room. It was not a map of the Earth, but a complex three-dimensional simulation of the torsion field itself. The light showed the field flowing deep beneath the crust, and the great stabilizer in the vault was the node at which the energy was being regulated. The console displayed data points, showing the current stress level, the energy input, and the output frequency. The incredible wow factor here was the scale of the operation. The hologram didn't just show the local area, it showed the effect spreading outwards in a ripple over 500 miles. The Conway network, and by extension, the Ordo Geometria, were quietly influencing the geological fate of an entire continent. And that's putting it lightly. The data revealed that the approaching crisis point in 6 months was when the natural torsion field would peak, and the machine would need to release its stored energy. The machine was designed to fail safely at that point, but the release of that much energy, even controlled, would cause a continental magnetic anomaly. What most people don't realize is that the shutdown sequence wasn't meant to stop the machine, it was meant to reset it. The diamond was the key to venting the accumulated energy in a safe, diffused manner, allowing the machine to start a new cycle. Without the key, the release would be catastrophic. The console showed that the original keepers had planned for the maintenance to happen right before the peak cycle. But Conway, perhaps due to the increasing difficulty of keeping the secret, had failed to complete the task before sealing the vault. The team's accidental discovery of the network had, in a strange twist of fate, put them in the exact position to complete the mission that had been abandoned almost a century ago. The entire network is active and running a new cycle now. This whole thing begs the question, how many other stabilizing machines are running beneath our feet right now? Like and subscribe to keep exploring the secrets hidden in the shadows.